Hello, 501. Happy Thursday evening. Eric Alfrey, your dedicated 501 instructor here. Hope you all are doing well. Wanted to send you all a quick video check-in. I'm going to try and send you these weekly from here on out. What they will comprise of is kind of doing a little bit of housekeeping, letting you know what I'm seeing, trends on any of the quizzes, discussion boards, anything along those lines, and also going over a little bit of the material, some highlights of things that I want to make sure that you do not miss, important stuff that you're going to need for upcoming quizzes, activities, writing your papers, and social work in general. So, yeah, okay, so week 2 wrap up. Let's see here. Discussion boards and quizzes this last week. Your quizzes are looking pretty good, really good overall. I didn't see a lot of problems. One thing I would like everyone to pay attention to, please, is if it says please discuss, make sure that you're doing so. A lot of people missed a point or half a point for answering the question but not discussing. I'm really looking for some critical thought in these. There's some that don't because you can't have critical thought on them, but for the most part, I kind of want you looking at it, picking around, kind of having some discussion, throwing out some examples, things along those lines. So make sure you're doing that on the quizzes. But overall, they were really good. In terms of subject on the quizzes, I'll get to that in a minute. So the discussion board this week, really good, like great. Actually, I really enjoyed reading your posts. Thank you all for sharing some of the things that you did, about folks you know, etc. Okay, so the discussion board and the quiz piece that I wanted to go over with you are actually related. I want to go over and we'll get back to this as well when we talk about the midterm activity. Okay, sorry, I keep looking down. I've got notes. So when we get to the midterm activity, we'll go over this some more too. But I want to talk about the concept of the biological catalyst. Okay, so the idea behind the multidimensional framework is that we're talking about different life domains. Okay, remember this. Okay, your concentric circles. Different life domains that affect each other, right? Your biological, your psychological, and your social. Okay, some would argue for, and actually I think that a lot of people agree with, a fourth dimension, that being the spiritual one. Hint, hint for the midterm. Midterm activity, excuse me. It's not really a midterm test, but that's a different piece. The three different aspects, the three different pieces of the multidimensional model are different categories, okay? So as a social worker, okay, in order to do a full assessment, in order to do your clinical assessment, and what's called a biopsychosocial, okay, which is the assessment per se within the multi-dimensional framework model, you're going to have to be able to differentiate root cause, okay? So by root cause, I mean what started the other stuff, okay? Now the thing is, they're concentric circles like this, right? Because everything affects everything in terms of life domains, right? We know this. You have a negative social interaction sometimes that makes you feel worried, you're concerned, you're worried, it makes your head hurt, right? You actually have a physical effect from a social interaction, right? You have psychological effects there because you have certain emotions and feelings around it, right? But if you look at any situation, there's going to be peeling back with everything that you know, okay? Think of this in terms of a logic model. With everything that you know, there's going to be a what caused these things, okay? So, for example, a lot of your posts were really good. People talked about things along the lines of someone getting a cancer diagnosis or diagnosis of diabetes per se, and how those things affected someone's other life domains. Okay, that's their biological catalyst, because the thing that started the other things, right? The emotional things, the social things, the psychological things, okay? The thing that started the other things was a biological event. It was a physical thing. It was a cancer, right? It was diabetes. It was something that physically happened to someone, or an injury per se. Someone has an injury, and then they, they're not able to do a sport that they love, which has a gross psychological effect on their functioning, something along those lines. Okay, it can go other directions too. Okay, maybe someone has some serious depression, therefore they're not able to exercise, therefore they become physically obese, various things, right? The point is that they all cross over, but in looking at everything that you know about a given situation, there is going to be a root cause from everything that you know. Okay, so a couple of things on here that you need to know on the midterm activity. There are some confusing ones that'll throw you for a loop. One is going to be that when we're talking about birth to 5, okay, kids, babies, toddlers, a lot of your stuff that's going to be seen as physical in terms of development, okay, is generally going to be psychologically oriented, okay? And by psychological, it means that it's happening, the development is actually happening in the kids' heads. That's the reason for it, okay? But as a physical manifestation, okay? That being said, unless it's going to be psychological, unless there's an obvious reason why it's something physical. If there's an injury, if you're grossly outside of developmental norms, things along those lines. Anything else, you're going to be talking physical. Substance abuse always throws people for a loop, because you're going to get a lot of people who are looking at things from a medical type of model, where they're saying, oh, it's addiction, so it's a physical addiction. Start doing more research on that and looking at that. I will tell you, in social work, we don't see addiction as a physical disease. We see it as as something that comes from that fits within the psychological domain. Okay, those are some tricky ones that I just kind of wanted you to mull over. Okay, so that's upcoming this week. Your midterm activity, that should give you some stuff to chew on. If you have any sort of questions or thoughts, please post in the discussion forum or shoot me an email or whatever you need. Let me know. Glad to chat with you to prep you for that. But really, truly, your midterm activity, it's going to be that. It's going to be looking at different situations, doing that root cause analysis, finding out what your catalyst is. Okay, it's a cool activity. I hope you like it. I think you get a couple tries on it, if I'm not mistaken. And sometimes some of it might throw you for a loop. That's okay. The point is that you're thinking about it. The way that points are set up in this class, I wouldn't worry if you lose a couple points on the midterm activity. It's okay. As long as you're trying hard, thinking about it, we're going to work with you. All right, so also this next week upcoming, you've got small groups in nature versus nurture. Small groups, the main thing I want you to be thinking about small groups is that they are sort of a microcosm that we can study to look at larger things. There's also a lot more to it, but small groups is a whole topic. You can do the reading. Let me know if you have questions. Nature versus nurture, huge topic, one of my favorite topics. Concentrate on the twin studies, make sure you understand what that means. Really important piece of it. Outside of that, we'll talk more reaction range theory, really important. I'll probably talk more about that in my wrap up next week. Really important concept that I want you thinking about, but we'll get there. So that's about all I got. I'm going to try and keep these short for you. Like I said, please let me know if you have any questions, concerns, thoughts, or if you just want to chat. Let me know. All right, appreciate it. You guys are doing great, and we'll check in sooner than later. Thanks, guys.